The reason why most of your good deeds and charity don't count is because of the way and manner you give them. You give to impress. Your public giving, your visible charity are actually for show off, but has been rejected in heaven while you're being praised on earth. Few people know this, but not every good deed is good in God's eyes. You can feed 1,000 mouths, build churches, donate millions, and still walk away empty because God doesn't just see the act, He sees the motive. Isaiah 64 verse 6 warns, "All our righteous acts are like filthy rags, when they're detached from purity and humility." That's a shocking truth many ignore. You could be applauded on Instagram and forgotten in eternity. Jesus watched people give in the temple, but He only pointed out one, the poor widow who gave 2 small coins. Why? Because the value wasn't in the amount, it was in the sacrifice. She gave all she had to live on. Luke 21 verses 1 and 4. That's the kind of good deed that counts, not how loud it is, but how much it costs you. In Matthew 6, Jesus gives a hidden warning: be careful not to do your acts of righteousness before men to be seen by them. If you do, you will have no reward from your Father in heaven. So ask yourself, who are you trying to impress, God or people? Some give to be noticed, some serve to be praised, and some fast just to look spiritual. But God sees the heart. In Matthew 25, Jesus said He'll separate people like sheep from goats, not based on status, preaching ability, or miracles, but on simple, overlooked deeds. I was hungry and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger and you invited me in. These were everyday actions, done for the least of these. Yet God said, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me. That's the secret. Deeds done for the unseen, unnoticed, unimportant in man's eyes are deeply honored in God's. You don't need a platform to please God. You need purity. You don't need fame to be fruitful. You need faithfulness. Some people are secretly housing the homeless, visiting prisoners, mentoring orphans, giving in secret, praying for others in private, and those are the names heaven celebrates. It's not flashy, but it's faithful. Not trending, but eternal. Cornelius in Acts 10 gave alms and prayed continuously, and Scripture says his gifts came up as a memorial before God. That's the kind of legacy that counts, deeds that reach God's throne, not just man's applause. And then there are the hidden sins behind good works. People who give, but only for leverage. People who serve, but only for recognition. People who appear righteous but harbor pride, bitterness, or hidden agendas. Proverbs 16 verse 2 says, all a person's ways seem pure to them, but motives are weighed by the Lord. That's why 2 people can do the same exact thing. One receives reward, the other receives rebuke. Remember Ananias and Sapphira? They gave to the church but lied about it. The judgment was instant and severe. God is not mocked. He's not impressed with surface-level goodness that hides corruption underneath. So what kind of deeds move heaven? Humble service when no one is watching. Forgiving those who don't deserve it, loving the unlovable, helping the weak without expecting return. Generosity when it stretches your faith. Defending the truth when it costs you popularity. Remaining pure when temptation surrounds you. Speaking life when gossip is easier. These are not glamorous, but they are glorious. Hebrews 6 verse 10 says, God is not unjust to forget your work and the love you have shown Him as you helped His people and continue to help them. He remembers what others ignore. Here's the wise warning: don't let the crowd define what counts. The world sees numbers, God sees sincerity. The world loves impact, God rewards obedience. Some deeds that trend on social media are forgotten in eternity. And some tears shed in a quiet prayer room are remembered forever. You don't need to announce what you're doing. God sees in secret and rewards in the open. Counts as the one done with clean hands and a pure heart. So now you have to choose: chase approval from men or favor from God. You can't have both. One fades, one lasts, one inflates the ego, one builds your crown. Let this sink in. The reward is not in the result, it's in the righteousness behind the action. If you never go viral but you remain faithful, heaven will still stand and applaud. If your name is never known, but your deeds are written in God's book, you have won. So don't stop doing good. Just make sure it's the kind that counts. This is the truth you need. This is the call you can't ignore. Subscribe to our channel, like, share, and never settle for what the world calls good again. Choose what God calls worthy. Because eternity is watching, and not all good deeds make it through the fire.